as we saw at the Turning Point USA conference yesterday. God bless this young man. So I'm about to play the clip. This is basically what was going on. This is the Turning Point tour, was hosted yesterday at Auburn University. It featured Lara Trump, Eric Trump, Senator Tommy Tuberville, and Benny Johnson. And we have a young conservative, which is really important that he's conservative, come forward and ask questions straight up directly. Why do we support Israel when they bombed the USS Liberty? Why do we support Israel when they persecute Christians in Gaza and the West Bank? This is what they had to say. Take a listen.
Mr. Johnson, Mr. Trump, Ms. Trump, I'd like to ask about your father's relationship with Israel. He's taken over $230 million from pro-Israel groups. During the summer against Iran, even though he advised against it, Israel still attacked Iran, and the U.S. still bombed on behalf of Israel. Your father's frustrations with Netanyahu have been made clear when he cursed on national TV over the situation. Israel has not been a great ally to the U.S. all the way since 1960 when they bombed the USS Liberty. Israel is a nation where Christians are constantly under attack in both Gaza and the West Bank. We talk about America first and defending Christians, but how can we do this if we align ourselves with a nation that does not do that itself?
Well, this kid, great question, finally.
There's no question my father's had frustration. In fact, I think he's had frustration throughout the whole conflict with both sides. At the same time, make no mistake, you have a nation that is chanting death to America every single day on the streets of Tehran. You have a nation that will develop a nuclear weapon, and you have a nation that will use that nuclear weapon against the Western way of life. There's no question about it. You have a nation that will use proxies around the world, whether it's Yemen, whether it's a lot of other ones, to inflict serious harm on this nation, and they don't hide it. They don't hide it. In fact, it's really interesting. About a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, they put out, the Ayatollah in Iran put out an emoji, a little short video clip of a drone hovering over my father's head as he played golf. This was literally posted on the Ayatollah's, Twitter page, following my father around a golf course with a crosshair right on top of him, as if they wanted to assassinate him and as if they wanted to hurt him. Guys, Iran wanted to destroy our way of life.
Okay, let's just stop right there. I will play the Cole clip, don't worry. First off, I just want to say to that young man, thank you for just directly asking the question. Of course, the Trumps just couldn't respond directly. It's exactly what we've heard before. Iran does this, Iran does that, Iran chants death to America. That's all we hear. Iran, over and over and over again. This is the thing. They not once in any of their responses by Lara and Eric are you going to hear them directly respond back regarding the USS Liberty. That's just a no-go. You're not going to hear a politician respond back to it. I'm glad he asked the question anyways, because it showed America that they don't even want to respond back. Not only just respond back, they don't need to say, the USS Liberty, it was an accident by Israel, yada, yada, yada. They don't even need to say any of that. All they could have responded is, God bless our American servicemen. God bless those that were on the USS Liberty. And, we share our condolences to those families. None of that. There is no even recognition that Israel murdered Americans on the USS Liberty back in the 1960s. No recognition about it whatsoever. That's good. It's good that they showed the face of American politicians for what they are. They just can't respond about that sort of thing. That's the first thing. Second thing, they continue to talk about Iran. No response back about the $200+ million his father received from the pro-Israel groups. No response and no recognition about Miriam Adelson bankrolling Donald Trump's administration. And most importantly, no real solid response back about the way Israel treats Palestinian Christians in Gaza and the West Bank. No response regarding how Israeli settlers steal Palestinian Christian homes in Bethlehem, like Elise Kissia, the Palestinian Christian that I work with in Bethlehem. No response back regarding that. No response back regarding the churches that they bomb in Gaza. But it's good that what we have is a young conservative bringing that up. So let's keep playing this clip over here.
They wanted to hurt us. They wanted to inflict real pain. What I can tell you about my father is in terms of Israel, he wants a peaceful Middle East. He wants peace around the world. He wants to end the killing. He did that with India and Pakistan. He did that, obviously, you saw what he did with Cambodia and Thailand. He's tried to stop every conflict because he's sick and tired of the death and destruction. So there have been times that he got mad at Netanyahu. There's plenty of times where he's gotten mad at Putin. There's times where he's been mad at Zelensky. And he uses all of that as a tool to stop pain and destruction and death of people that are our age, your age in most cases, who have become political pawns and who have been marched into literally trenches and killed by the millions. And that's what my father wants to see end right this second. And that's why he's worked so hard for peace around the world. In fact, Donald Trump is the only president in the United States history that's never brought America to war. And I hope he keeps following in that crusade.
Now, he's going to ask a follow-up question. I want to stop there as well. Again, talks about Donald Trump wanting peace around the world, and that's what he's working towards. I'm not going to say whether or not I actually believe Donald Trump wants that. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. It does seem like he has tried to push for peace agreements. This is the thing about the Israelis and about Israel that people need to understand. No matter how much Donald Trump wants peace between Israel and Palestine, he will never get it because of the fact that Israel will manipulate situations and will commit false flag attacks in order to make sure that there is never peace in the region. If Donald Trump was able to stop Iran from developing nuclear weapons, Israel would have no problem committing a false flag attack in order to justify the United States responding back and leading to a greater conflict. Israel has shown that they have no problem risking American lives if it benefits and brings their interests moving forward. There is no question about that. We've seen that time and time again, that Israel loves to manipulate situations that benefits it. Do you think Israel would have had a problem if the United States went to war in Iran? Obviously not. Israel would have been salivating for that to happen. Israel has been salivating for that war to take place. Who do you think pushed and heavily lobbied to have the United States go to war in Iraq? It was the Israel lobby. Ben Shapiro, goddammit, wrote an article saying why war in Iraq is good for America. Yes, Ben Shapiro wrote that article, back in 2004, 2005? These are the kind of people, these neoconservatives, that are pushing for war for Israel's benefit. So it doesn't matter how much Donald Trump wants peace in that region. There are going to be Israel first neocons that want the exact opposite. And if you don't believe that Israeli intelligence, like the Mossad, would try to manipulate situations to make sure that they get their way, then you're simply not looking at the situations deeply enough. That's the truth of it all. So I'm so glad for this kid. He does ask a follow-up question. Let's go ahead and play that right now.
In response to the nukes from Iran, Israel has nuclear weapons and is not a part of the IAEA, unlike Iran. And it's just sad to see because I've never seen the American president get treated the way he does by the Israeli government.
There we go. Thank you.
Here's what I'll add. Do we or do we not have phase one of a peace agreement in the Middle East right now? Nothing is ever going to be perfect, but I'll tell you what, this president works with what he has. He believes in peace through strength. And whether we're talking about in the Middle East, whether we're talking about a 40-year war like Armenia and Azerbaijan, as Eric just pointed out, a 5-day war in Thailand and Cambodia, this is a president of peace. And sometimes you have to be slightly unconventional with how you get there. You use what you have. That is certainly what he's been able to do. And I would just say peace around the world sounds pretty good to me, and that's what this president is bringing.
Alrighty, did you see that? The kid asks directly. First off, he starts off asking about Israel's nuclear weapons. Israel has nukes. Israel does not does not say publicly that they have nukes. Israel's not registered as a nuclear nation. The United States turns a blind eye to that. No response back regarding Israel's nukes. That's a no-go zone for a U.S. politician, because we know the last U.S. politician who asked about Israel's nuclear ambitions was John F. Kennedy. And he was assassinated a few months after trying to stop Israel from developing nuclear weapons. So that's a no-go zone for U.S. politicians. You can't talk about Israel's nuclear weapons, which is why they're going to completely ignore it and talk about how Donald Trump just wants peace. It's a no-go. Regardless, thank God that young man asked about Israel's nuclear weapons, because we saw it flat out. A U.S. politician, U.S. figures will not talk about the fact that Israel has nukes. They talk about Iran, of course, having nuclear ambitions, but will never talk about the fact that Israel has nukes. And God, who knows what Israel would consider doing with their nuclear weapons? Do people not know about the Samson option? Israel has no problem using their nuclear weapons if, of course, they feel like an existential crisis is taking place. I have more concern. More Americans are worried about the fact that Israel has nukes than any other country having nukes, because given how crazy these Israelis are, you simply can't trust them with a nuclear weapon. That's more than evident at this point. And of course, she just wants to completely ignore that part and overlook it. What you've noticed in this entire conversation, in their responses back to this young man asking these questions, is number one, let's put all the focus on how evil Iran is. Absolutely, we're going to make sure people understand that Iran is an evil nation that hates America. Because if we do that, then we're going to overlook the fact that Israel treats us like absolute bullshit. We're gonna do that. Let's overlook and not respond to the way that Christians are being persecuted by Israelis, how Israeli settlers are persecuting Palestinian Christians and stealing their home. We're going to overlook that. We're not going to ever talk about how Donald Trump lets these Israeli Jewish settlers have a free-for-all on Palestinian Christians in the West Bank and Gaza. We're not going to talk about the fact that Palestinian Christians are having their churches bombed and their churches destroyed by IDF soldiers and, again, Israeli Jewish settlers in the West Bank. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about the fact that Jewish settlers are salivating at the fact that they want more Palestinian lands in the occupied territory. Completely ignore that. What we will talk about is how our father-in-law wants peace around the world and that nothing's perfect, and the United States allyship with Israel is necessary and needed. We have no problem talking about that. We're not going to talk about anything else. We're not even going to touch it. We're not going to touch it because we have to make sure that we are good guys when it comes to Israel. God bless Israel. That's always how it is. God bless Israel. So, anyways, I'm going to stop right there for this. Let's just go through some of the questions here. Their answer to everything is daddy is the best. Absolutely. Let's hate socialism, but love Israel having free healthcare and free college. Free healthcare and free college that who pays for? We pay for. America pays for. They stole material and had spies steal ideas. Absolutely, Captain America. I believe you're talking about Israel stealing nuclear materials. If people haven't heard of the Numek affair, or also known as the Apollo affair, would definitely suggest you see how Israel actually got their nuclear technology and radioactive material back in the 1960s and 1970s. Fun fact, they stole it from us. It's amazing. Things were moved and not mad and did not damage. Ask not real. Showing a play. That big funeral was on the border. They didn't just go help Palestinians. Israelis keep crossing. So this is kind of the reoccurring theme here, is that Israel treats Americans like shit, expects us to give them money, and goes ahead and does everything counter to U.S. interests, and we turn a blind eye. That's kind of how it's been, because of the fact that we have the Israel lobby, because of the fact that we have a Zionist, heavily Zionist influenced media, mainstream media that's controlling the narrative, because of the fact that we have billionaires that are pushing for an Israel first policy agenda. So that's kind of it. Jezin82, thanks so much for the super chat. I really appreciate the support there, guys. And we're gonna end it here for this video. Again, just great question. Wasn't expecting them to give a solid direct response back, which of course they didn't do anyways, but it doesn't matter. We see here that we have a young conservative speaking up about Israel. And what that's telling me is that the tides are turning. People are sick of it. Okay, especially young conservatives. And of course, when it comes to Israel, this is what we know. We have the people on the left, we have Democrats, we have leftists, and they're not fans of Israel, but it's for different reasons. There is a difference here, and people need to understand this difference because it's very important when you start to think about U.S. foreign policy. Is that we have on the left people that are more concerned, of course, with Palestinians being treated with dignity and Palestinians not being bombed to oblivion, Palestinian civilians. Palestinians not having freedom. This seems to be more of the concern on the left. And I'm sure as this young man demonstrated, he is concerned about the way that Palestinian Christians are being persecuted. But what we see a bit more on the right is that there's a less focus on Palestine per se and more of a focus on simply an America First agenda. Simply the fact that pushing for these Israeli first policies does not benefit America in any way whatsoever. So noticing that on the right, it's the boiling criticism with the younger generation is the fact that we're seeing very evidently Israeli first policies. And on the left, we're starting to have a lot of that rhetoric as well, but it's also focused on the human rights violations and the persecution that Palestinians face in the occupied territories that we're seeing a bit more of. So knowing that is great, because then we could start to approach how we can change actual U.S. policy towards Israel with that perspective, knowing that the argument that you're going to propose to the left is going to be different than the argument you propose to the right. And I'll also tell you this: whether you're on the left or the right, you're not my enemy. I do not care whether you're on the left or the right. The way I see it, having Israeli or America First policy is more consequential to the fate of America, regardless of whether you're on the right or the left. I think that Americans, more than anything, need to come together about making sure there's an America First policy agenda, because placing an America First policy agenda directly benefits Palestinians. Because ultimately, making sure Palestinians are treated with dignity in the Middle East makes a more peaceful Middle East. Making sure that Palestinians have freedom makes peace in the Middle East. There's a direct cause and effect to that. So just simply having an America First policy agenda benefits everybody, except, of course, for the Israelis. So simply, matter of fact, if you put America first, I'm on your side. Whether you're a leftist or whether you're a conservative, I do not care. And until we have America First policies, the United States is going to continue to go downhill, because we're going to keep getting put in wars that we can't fund. The trillions of dollars of debt that we face going on the war on terror was for who? It was for Israel. It was to take out all of Israel's enemies and have America suffer the consequences and suffer the trillions of dollars in debt that we had to put on ourselves implementing those policies for the Israel Firsters. No more. People are sick of it. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Would love and appreciate some super chats as well. Thank you guys so much. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please click the subscribe button below. Really just getting started here on YouTube. So every ounce of support helps a lot. See you guys later. Bye.